Welcome to a very special live edition of the Cross Border Interviews with Chris Brown. I am your host, Chris Brown, and I'm pleased and honored to have our guest on to the show today. Before we get to him, I'm going to say this with respects to him. I have tried to pronounce his name a few times. We did a pre-interview of how to pronounce it, and I think I've gotten it down right here, but I'm going to try, and I am pleased and honored to welcome the leadership candidate for the Green Party of Canada, Simone Gnocchini-Messier. Pronounced it wrong, didn't I, Simone?
No, that was good. That was good.
Well, I appreciate your understanding of me trying to pronounce it. I do appreciate that. But Simone, thank you so much for
the effort. The effort is very important, Chris.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I'm looking forward to our discussion, our conversation, and getting to know you and your vision for the Green Party, but also the vision for Canada.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Well, so let's start with the very first question that I've asked every single politician or candidate to be a politician who has come on this show. Simone, where does your sense of duty to serve come from?
Oh, that's interesting. It comes from my consciousness that I exist because I interact with other people and that we all live together and live in a society that we create every day. And that you need to take action, to be out there and to share your value, to make sure that you're part of that community and that society. And I think it's very important to do it. And that happened in the beginning of my 20s, I would say. You know, I studied such political science, and some teacher really influenced me. Like I think about Carole Levasseur was a great teacher. Paul-André Comeau was a journalist and also teaching at the Université Laval. And they really influenced me, and they show me like how important it is to contribute and to get involved in politics. Yeah.
You can get involved in many different levels of politics, whether it be municipal, school board, borough in Quebec. You can get involved federally. You've chosen federal politics to start off the bat, and you've chosen to run for the leadership of the Green Party of Canada. So I guess the million-dollar question that's on everyone's minds right now is, what made you decide that you were the best person to lead the Green Party of Canada into the future?
So, and you're right, you can, start with all kind of involvement, but I was on the school board for 7 years. So I did that part. I was also a counselor in a small city near my town where I was born. So for a little bit more than 3 years. I was a candidate in the past also for the Green Party in 2021. I did also work a lot with the NDP under Jack Layton. I was a candidate in 2008. I was a manager also during a campaign in 2015. I was president of an EDA. I did a lot of things, and so I was candidate in 2021. And if you had asked me at that moment, oh, are you going to run to be the next leader of the Green? I would have said, seriously, that I wouldn't even have thought about that. But then life is like, life is sometimes it's a real surprise, and it just came. And sometimes I think you need to harvest the flower when it's ready. So it was there. I'm almost 50 next year's, and all my experiences and I think I have the competency, and I'm there in my life. So I said, talk with my partner, and then decide that it was the time, an opportunity for me to run. And I say, that will just happen once in my life. So I think, so I said, let's go. I'm ready. So here I am in that leadership race, and trying to bring my ideas, my policies, my point of view, and my experience.
So let's talk about your journey to the Green Party of Canada, because as you've just said, you started federally in the NDP, but you came over to the Green Party. So there's a lot of people right now who are politically homeless, and they were once NDP, once liberal, once conservative, and they're looking for a new home. What drew
Mhm.
you to the Green Party of Canada, and what made you decide that the Green Party of Canada was your political home moving forward after your time with another party?
So I think climate change is very important. And right now, on the federal scene, uh, there's only the Green Party who's really ready and take that issue seriously. Um, so, and I also think it's very important to have more than one political party that's very strong and have a lot of seats at the House of Commons. That's why, I was involved with the NDP, and now I think it's also time to bring the Green to the next level and to make it a real. Now we have two MPs. We have to increase the number of MPs and to have increase our voice there by having more MPs. And I think that's it is time. So that's why I decided to go with the Greens. But also there's the 6 principles of the global Greens that I discovered and that they really talk to me. So the ecological wisdom, I think it's very important that it's a way of thinking life. It's like human being is part of all this. It's not, the end in itself. And so we need to learn to balance our interaction with the planet and our consumption and rethink all that. So I think that first principle really talked to me. And that's really what brought me to the Green. And I think at the time also, I thought that the NDP was like moving more to the center. And we saw them after they, even did a contract with the liberals, and then they supporting the liberals. That one side, yeah, we'll give you what you want. Now they're sending a check for your family for dental care. Okay, that's good. But then whoop, and then you see that they're going to go get back that money, and then the liberal, at the same time they keep exploiting fossil fuel, there's new project in Newfoundland, and they just keep going, and we increase our production and our exporting of fossil fuel since the liberal are there. They're saying yeah, we're working on that, but if we look closely, they're not working on that. So, and now I think the NDP is really moved to the center, and so I think the Green is the right vehicle to to keep going and building a social democrat party where we take the environment, the climate, social justice, very important also, participative democracy in the Green Party. That's one of the 6 principles. We need to bring the proportional election. Think about that. We can't have a party that win 35% of the vote and then it has the majority at the House of Commons and decide everything for everybody. It's we need more discussion, more communication, and proportional brings that. It's it brings it's put like we saw now with a minority government. They need to discuss and find some support from other party, and that's push the big party to negotiate and to move to the left and bring more social justice and more balance in our way of developing our economy or in our society.
We were going to be talking about some policy later on in the interview, but I want to stick on you if you don't mind. I watched your opening video, your campaign launch video, and in
Okay.
it, you announced you called yourself a social democrat. And now, for those who are listening, and I want to just put this on the record, what does it mean to be a social democrat to you?
So a social democrat. So we think social justice is very important. So a balance in the creation of wealth. I mean, a balance in how we after we make sure that everybody will be able, to have their part of wealth, to develop their knowledge, their education, and some equal chance to every citizen Canadian citizens to grow, to develop themselves, and to become what they want to become, what they are. And I think that that's what it means to be a social democrat. It's like to be more on the left, more person, and more acts on the let's make sure that the knowledge is growing everywhere instead of thinking of, oh, let's make sure our GDP is growing, or that like, oh, we have a very, a good GDP. Yeah, what are you creating? We don't even know sometimes what's in there. So it's like, no, let's make sure our citizens are in good health, are growing their knowledge, their education is going well, they have good values, they're good citizens. And I think that's what we should, measure to make sure that that's where we're going, and not just like an economy that exploiting the matter, and that's like creating all kind of goods for consumptions, but at what hand? So what's the goal? Is just to make the richest richer and the rich richer, and it's like, so I think that's what it is for me.
Do you
For
think
social
Canadians
democrat.
are in the same boat as you? Do you think Canadians believe that, or the majority of Canadians would consider themselves a social democrat under that description?
I think yes, I think a lot of Canadians will consider themselves as social democrat. I do. I think like Canadians are like American always saying about Canadians. Oh, they're the good guys. They're always polite. They're always, and it's in us. It's like, yes, we want to help each other. We want to go forward. We want to make sure everybody gets along, and that everybody feel good, and is doing what you want to do, and that's socially acceptable. Yes, I think everybody would agree with that. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you answering that last question on that subject. And I want to turn to policy because that's really where I shine, because I'm a political nerd. I went through for political science as well, and I enjoy talking policy and getting into the nitty gritty of policy.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off because I'm the Alberta show. So if I don't ask the Alberta question, I guarantee you
Yeah.
there's gonna be someone in the audience later on listening to this yelling at me. So what is your views on the oil and gas industry today?
But my view, I think fossil fuel, we need to close the tap, and we need to base our economy on something else than just oil and gas, especially tar sands. And we need to diversify all that and go for bring our energy from somewhere else, like hydroelectricity, use like the tide or the wind. And yeah, that's my view regarding
You said close off the tap, and I just want to clarify
yeah.
here. Most people in Alberta who live in rural Alberta are reliant on their jobs for the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
Closing off the tap, that might sound like to them, you're going to get me out of a job. You're going to lose a job. Are you saying close off the taps tomorrow if elected, or are you saying a gradual transition to a diversified economy? And I just need clarification on that side.
Yeah. You always have a gradual transition. You can't just like says it's finished, we close everything. There's a transition, and we need to be to do it like humanly fast that we can. But I believe like Albertans, like very strong people and very ingenious people that won't have any difficulty to say, okay, I've been exploiting that, making money. I'm ready to, participate to something else, and to grow another company, another enterprise. Like, and I think that I don't think it will be a big problem. I think it's like, it's like in life, we change all kind of stuff. If we look, like the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, everything evolved and changed. And now we have like computers everywhere. And that's totally new, like way of doing things. And none of that was existing like 40 years ago. It was just like starting here and there. And there's a huge enterprise and business. And that's something that's there. And I think Albertan like gonna find the maybe next big thing, or find something else that will be as good as oil. And We
What are
see
you
it
looking at?
like
What are you looking at
the
for replacement of that oil and gas industry or transition to, like you said, hydroelectric? Are there resources right now that you're looking at? You're saying this is the future of our resource sector, whether it be technology, whether it be tourism. What resources, what diversification are you looking at right now?
like I said, hydroelectricity is the key. Like and we saw it like it's like we using the strength of the nature and the tide, the wind, and we need to go into those direction. Like we saw it, the fossil fuel is creating problem. Like it's a basic, like understanding. You burning them, it make it monoxide the carbon. It's like, and then in city at certain time of the years, you get like all that air that's pollute. So like electric car won't do that. Yes, there's other issue with those, but then it solves something that's very important in those big city that just keep growing, like and growing. That's another problem also we have to face, like the urban sprawl is like something. Like I was looking at some picture of Quebec in 1960 when they were building the Champlain Bridge, and Brossard was not even there. There was no city there. It was nothing. It was like, oh my, that's only like 60 years ago. There was nothing. I was like, I thought Brossard was there, forever since like, I don't know, beginning of time. I wasn't born in 1960, but it's not that long ago. And there's nothing. It's like agriculture all along the St. Lawrence there. And now it's like city buildings, and it's like all developed. So are we going to keep growing like that? I think we need to question ourselves. Like, I love Denis Villeneuve, the Quebec director, but living in the Blade Runner, I don't want my kids and my grandkids to live in a city like that. It's like, no, thank you. I think so. That's why I'm doing politics. We need to think about that, because that's what we're building right now. Those big city with, like cements everywhere. No more forests. Like, oh yeah, we can't want forests in the middle. Yeah, and then like, I don't know. We need to rethink all of that. Protect more forests, and it's been a long time since the last time we protect some forests. New parks. Like, it's been a long time. Jacques Chrétien was very active on that, and others. But it's been a long time. It's like right now I don't think we're doing as much as we should do for the nature, for the planet. I
So,
think
what would you do differently?
for us, because it's like that's where we're living. It's like at the end, my point of view, the planet will survive us if we're not intelligent enough to manage it properly. Like, we'll just pass like the dinosaur, and it's like it's gonna be okay. What's next? It's where we're living, and it's like, what do we want? We want to live in a place that's welcoming, with harmonious and welcoming, or we want to live in a place like, like a little bit depressing. It's like just cement and no trees and like lights everywhere. I don't know. We need to think about that, and I think it's important.
Do you think the current government under Justin Trudeau is thinking about the future, or is it being more reactive to what's going on and not proactive of thinking about the future and being proactive on how to keep the planet alive?
I think the liberal are like clientelist. Clientelism in English, like party. It's like, ooh, there's people there who wants that. Let's win their vote. We'll give them what they want. So by doing that, they give a little bit to everybody. So I don't think there's a vision, there's a direction. And so that's why the Green are still very, very like important, because like the more people who are going to vote Green, the more the Liberals are going to move to the left and try to go to the right also. I don't know. Sometimes they try to do the grand écart. But yeah, that's why the party to the left are so relevant, because they show, those big party with the big organizations and a lot of staff and resources like that. Oh, no, there's people there. People are talking. We need to answer them. So now they will change their policy. And that's why we see even the conservatives now with the environmental, policy. So it's like that's great. That's now they have to make sure that they will do it. They will talk the walk or
Yeah.
walk the talk.
Walk the talk, yeah.
Yeah, walk the talk.
We could talk about resources for the full hour, but I don't want to do that because there's other pressing issues that are facing Canadians, and I want to make
Okay.
sure we get onto this one because this is the one that's facing a lot of Canadians, and it's facing
Okay.
Canadians from coast to coast to coast, and that is affordability and inflation. People are seeing prices go up. People are struggling. People are living paycheck to paycheck right now. They are
Yeah.
hurting. And I say that with respect to everyone because everyone is trying to make it by. I know some of my family members have been living paycheck to paycheck, and it's hard times for people. What do you see as the biggest priority that needs to be done to help alleviate some of these issues around affordability, around the cost of living, around the cost of groceries right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, it is an issue right now. The pandemic didn't help. Like all the money that was pumped in the system, for sure. At the time, a lot of experts are saying it was the thing to do. Did they do too much? Maybe. It's hard to say. Huh? It was like a very uh, urgent moment, urgent situation. So they did the best they could, but we saw the liberals who try to give some fun to manage by their friends. That was like questionable. Good thing there was an opposition there, who saw the thing. So maybe they went too far and a little bit contribute to that inflation. So right now, and I have to add also we saw like the gas price go up like crazy, to over $2. And you look at those big corp and they do billions in profit. And it's like, yeah, but maybe there's part of the inflation that's in their pocket, I'm not saying the full 8%, but let's say the 6, because every year we have 2 to 3% of inflation. That's what we think, we want, like around 2 to 3, lower than 3. But so it's we have about 4-5% of inflation there that we don't really, understand. We do understand it's coming from the disruptor of the all those grocery store, and all that, the way they buy the food and all that. Okay, that part we understand. I think everybody understand that there was some problem with the pandemic. But on the other hand, I think there's some players who just use the crisis moment to make money, and that's a problem. And the government need to step, put his feet down and to say, well, there's a problem, and we need to talk to those guys because yes, they are making it worse. So that's one thing. And I think we need to help the people who are need the most help, the people who are going to paycheck need programs to help them. We need to support them. And we need to make sure that they will go, that they will get out of that situation, be able to buy a house. That's another problem also that, had to all that what happened with the housing, it was totally nuts. But now there's a correction. We're going back to a more maybe a normal space. I think we'll see. Time will tell. But it's with the housing, who made the most money? The agent, the real estate. They're the one who made all the money, and they're still having the same rate on the house, and they're making a lot of money. So yeah, maybe the government should look there a little bit, and go change the rule and make sure that it's more fair, and that we stop that those that those prices go up and high because they create a bidding for a house, and it's that's a problem. We need to government need to step there and to change the rule and make sure that it's more fair for everybody. So
but isn't that just the market dictating the needs and wants? And I say that I say that just as a devil's advocate here, because that's what I like to play on in the shows, the devil advocate, because I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, I don't want to go in there and tell the market to not do something, but at the same time, you're right. People can afford houses. We are lucky we bought at the time that we did, because if we bought now, we wouldn't have been able to afford our house.
Yeah, But the market need to be regulated. Like, me, I never believed, like, I remember my teacher at university who said, oh, the market will be managed by the invisible hand of God. I was like, what is he talking about? I was like, and I was talking to my colleagues, like, did he really said that? I was like, seriously? Everything we learned in that course, rely on that? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, the market will regulate itself. Seriously, when we got those billionaires who, like, it was just like, are very intelligent people, and they just like trying to find a way to do more money, and they don't really care about, like, like making sure like their wealth has been like spread and used to create a social democracy. That's not their point. Their point is to make more 1 million. So the government need to say, okay, I think you have enough here, and maybe you're not playing the game properly. You're not helping your citizen right now. So the government need to step, forward and say, okay, that's enough. Like, we see all those condo towers, like, with buyers that were coming from all around the world to buy condos and not even living there. It's like, and then the price, just like in BC, the price went so up. Now there's a tax. Okay, that slowed down things, and now they say, oh, I won't make as much money. So they think twice before doing that. But that's a problem. I think the same problems in Toronto, and Montreal also is living that. So that's the job of the government to make sure, like, they that doesn't happen. To keep balance, to make sure affordability is there, and that our citizens are living a life where they're happy, they feel secure, and they know that, they got some hope that everything will be good for weeks, months, years, and they can develop themselves, develop their spirit, develop their knowledge, and make sure their kids have good values. And then after, we go forward as a community, as a country.
We are coming up on the second anniversary of the Truth and Reconciliation Day on Friday, September 30th. I want to ask a poignant question. Has the Canadian government failed the Aboriginal and Indigenous people of Canada? And if so, what would be a priority for you to mend that relationship between the government and the First Nations and Aboriginal people of Canada?
So, the actual governments try to correct the situation. Are they doing their best? Could they do better? Maybe. I think it's sad, everything that happened. That happens, like, not that long ago by previous government, and now we have to fix that, and we have to do that with First Nation. We need to rebuild the trust. We need to be there, and to make sure they feel they have their role to play. That they've been heard, and that's like, some things takes time. But also, we need to make sure they all get clean water. And personally, if I was Prime Minister, that folder would be right on my desk, and I would do personally a follow-up on that, because I don't understand, after all those years, that still there's some community who don't have, like, clean water. I'm like, something, it's like, doesn't add in my brain. So I would like, maybe they could explain it to us, why there's so many community who don't have clean water. That's basic stuff, and it's like that. I don't understand that part. So maybe they should do better, yes, regarding all those issues. And we need to work with them. We need to work with First Nation. We need to talk. We need to find solution. I think like the 30th, like, that day that was dedicated, for the reconciliation and the truth. I think it's a good thing, and it's a step forward. And we need to go to their rhythm, but some things takes times to resolve also.
I thank you for that honest answer, because we are still seeing the ramifications of finding unmarked graves across this country of the residential school system, and every day we discover new unmarked graves. it doesn't seem to be a big deal in the media anymore. And I want to keep talking about this issue because this is a stain on the history of Canada and we cannot wipe it away. So I thank you so much for taking time out of this interview and talking about what you believe is the important issue to help rectify that relationship. So thank you.
Yeah.
I want to turn to the Green Party of Canada now because I'm just looking at the time and we're a half hour in and I just want to make sure we get this part done here. I know it's been a half hour. I can't believe that. You are talking to members from across this country. You are talking to members in BC, in Alberta, all the way to Newfoundland, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. You are hearing different issues in each province probably. What is the message that the membership is telling you that is a priority for them?
Climate change. Climate change is the priority. Climate change is what we're hearing the most. People want us to work on environment, climate change, and make sure that we will build an economy, a society that will respect nature and make sure that we won't, heat the planet too fast, because now we're just like trying to slow down all the warmth of the planet. It's like we're not even trying to go back to what was more normal 100 years ago, and now we're just like going in a direction that people are saying we need to rethink of way of doing things, because there's a real issue there. We saw it in PEI, just like with Fiona. Like never saw that in Canada. Like it's like people lost their house. It's like it's a real mess there. It's like, and we were always thinking, oh, that happened to Puerto Rico. No, now it's happening in Canada, and everything that happened in BC also, those fire, and it's like that's a real problem. So we need to think like of ways of making sure that we're doing our part and being a model all around the world. As Canadian, we need to be a model to show other country that we are making things properly. And right now we are not. We are consuming a lot. We're using fossil fuel. We're exporting a lot of fossil fuel. We're contributing to what we're seeing right now with the climate change. So I think that's what the members want. That's what they're talking about, and they want us to focus on that issue in particular.
So how do you do that on a national stage? Because you have two high-profile names, Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre, who are going to take up a lot of the oxygen in the room. How do you get climate change on the national agenda again? And how do you, because you don't have a seat if you're elected leader, you will not be sitting in the House of Commons on a day-to-day basis. How do you make sure that is a topic that people are talking about in the House of Commons?
The topic is already out there. Now we need to bring solution, and we need to make the economy and the society move in the right direction. So that topic is everywhere. We're talking about it like in the news all the time, and so it's to make sure that those party, that the old party will bring the right policy to change things, and to do that, so we need to keep working. Going to meet the citizen, building our party, make our party grow, and to show that that's the future. That's what people want, and to work together, and then they will come more to the left, and we will see them come to the left and change their way of doing things, and we will grow, get more seats. And for now, we don't. We have 2 seats. Like the goal is to get more seats and to go win some election. Bring back Paul Manley, go get that seat in Fredericton again. And it's like, that's the goal. And to go everywhere that we're able to win seat where people, wants to work with us and go forward. And that's what we're going to do.
So how do you do that? Because you will be the new elected leader if the members choose you. How do you see your role of growing the base of the Green Party of Canada in all sectors of this country, whether it be BC, Alberta, in Fredericton, like you said, in New Brunswick, how do you see your role, and what do you see your role of creating a party that will be able to grow into the future? Because we are seeing media reports, and I am pretty sure everyone has seen them, where it says the Green Party is dead, but I don't think so. I think the Green Party still has relevance to be there. So where do you see your role as their new leader of moving the conversation forward, but also growing the party in all sectors and all sections of this country?
Yeah, we need to work as a team. So I played sports, hockey, football, and that's what I want to bring. We need to work together and in a good spirit and make sure we're like, collaborative and going in the right direction. And then the growth will be there. And it's like, it's to bring the right spirit. So I played for the Université Laval-Rougeard at the beginning with Glenn Constantin and the same coaching staff that's there right now. And that's what they brought there. They brought some way of doing things to and make people enjoy what they're living. It's like also every winning team. It's like what's the culture inside, how things are going, and how people are like to work together and to go forward in a common direction. So we'll need to, there will be some hard discussion because sometimes we don't agree on everything, and that's part of life. And we have to have those discussions and to find some solution and keep going forward. And sometimes you have to let go some things, and because you think that other things are better, and that's where we need to focus, and then you go that way. But in a progressive party, everybody's very passionate. Everybody, has their way of seeing things because they're very implicated. They're not just voting once a year. They bring all their knowledge, their passion, and so sometimes it creates a situation where it's like more hard. The discussion's more hard, but I think it's also bring a lot of energy and a lot of like competency, knowledge, and when we'll thrive, be careful.
You will, when elected leader, I should say, you will have to balance the different voices within the Green Party, because while you said the big issue that the membership across Canada are talking about is climate change, the issues of BC are different than the issues of Nova Scotia. The issues that you're seeing in Quebec are different than the issues in downtown Ontario, downtown Toronto. How do you see yourself balancing that aspect? Because while it's great to be a team, we all know, I've played football as well. I played for the University of Queen's University, and I can tell you that not everyone agreed on everything the coach was saying. So how do you see yourself ensuring that the Green Party message is similar but unique as well in the different provinces, because the different messages will need to resonate with different members?
Yeah, I agree. We need to listen to the members, and what the members will decide also will put that forward. If it's in line with my values, and I will defend what the members want. And so we have like our General Assembly, and like we'll go forward from there. And there will be some, how could I say? But everybody agrees on climate change. Everybody knows, like, now, do we all agree on the solution? That's where, issue can come, where we want to go in a direction, another one wants to go in another direction. But then you have to, sit down, talk, and find, what the majority want as a solution, and to go forward with that. And I think that's how you build things. Yeah.
I want to ask one last question before we start our wrap up here, Simone, and that is, we have covered a lot in 40 minutes. We have covered a lot of things in 40 minutes, but I guarantee you there's someone out there who's listening to this saying, why didn't you ask him this question? Well, it's my show and I get to ask the questions. You want to do your own show? How can people reach out to you and ask other questions? How can people get involved in your campaign? How can people donate? Because I guarantee you're a campaign who needs volunteers, needs donations, needs members to sign up. So how can they do that?
So they can reach us. They go on my website, www.simonjmessier. So J like George, and .ca.
And
then there's an email there, they text to us, and we answer them. Like, we answer everybody every day. And they can ask whatever question. They could go on the website. We have a lot of policy, a lot of, the way we're seeing life like, I'm talking about my team, because we're a team. I always, to be able, to go forward, you need to work as a team. You want to go, on the long run, you work with a team. And so we will answer everybody. And please, you want to join us, you're welcome. And we will find a place and use your talent and your knowledge the right way.
For those who are listening and watching this, the links to Simon's information, his website, his social media feeds, are all in the show notes. So if you scroll down while watching this on YouTube, the links are there. And also a link to buy a membership of the Green Party of Canada is there. I'm not saying you should go buy one. I'm just saying that if you wish, after listening to our conversation, the link is down there. So please scroll down, think about it, and buy a membership if you want. This brings us to the very last question of the interview, and that is this. And before we get this last question on the record, I want to say I've given Simon, before our interview, the ability to say his closing statement in French and in English. So, Simon, why should you be the next leader of the Green Party of Canada? Whenever you're ready, take it away.
So, why should I be the next leader of the Green Party of Canada? I will start in English, and then I'll say a little bit in French. So I think I'm ready to bring people together, to work together, and to go forward. And I think that the Green Party principles needs to be known, and we need to keep going, growing, and make sure that those principles and that way of seeing life and building our society is developed and grow. And I think I have what it needs to be in that position, because it's a position where we will work as a team. I go back to team, but team is very important. It's not one guy in the front. Sometimes it's one person. I will have that position of leader if I win. If I don't, I will support that one that will win, because we will work as a team. And that's my spirit. I want to be there, not to be the leader, to be in the position of leader. And sometimes I will lead. Sometimes it's another person that take the lead. Sometimes it's another person. We work as a group, but I will be in that position if they elect me. And I think I will be able to do the job properly. Puis je veux m'assurer aussi que tous les Franco-Ontariens, Albertains, Britanno-Colombiens, des Maritimes, de partout au Canada sont bien traités et qui reçoivent les services auxquels ils ont droit dans leur langue, et qu'on continue à construire un Canada bilingue, d'une côte à l'autre. Et ça aussi, c'est quelque chose qui m'inspire. Et travailler avec nos amis anglophones ensemble pour créer un Canada où il fait bon vivre. Et je pense que le Parti vert a son mot à dire. And I think the Green Party is important, to play a role there and to get into the House of Commons and to bring more policy and make sure that we tackle climate change.
You are the very first guest of my show who has spoken French on this show. I guess I get from your passion in our pre-interview that Francophone affairs is very passionate for you, especially across this great country. Thank you so much.
My partner from BC, okay,
yeah.
Just saying. So we're a very Canadian family, but sometimes we have some very hard discussion, because my ancestor arrived in Canada in 1649. So not the Italian one, but the Franco part. So we've been here for a long time, but I'm for a strong federation. And
are you a federalist?
Sorry?
Are you a federalist?
For sure, I'm a federalist.
That's what I like to hear. Do you believe that francophone of issues need to be addressed more prominently across this country? And I say that just, I know we were about to wrap up, but well, it's my show and I get to do whatever I want on my show from time to time, and I get to throw in questions at the end. But do you believe that francophone of issues need to be addressed more prominently in places like Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, where they are usually underrepresented?
I think so. I think we need to make sure that that they receive the service they're allowed to, and that they've been respected, and they keep like growing like the rest of the society they're living in, and not that like one year like the budget are been cut, and then look we're closing a school, and I think like we need to keep all that alive. It's a richness. It's for Canada, and I believe in the bilingual Canada. I think it's important, and I think that's the key also to keep going forward as a nation.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sitting down, taking time out of your campaign, and doing this interview today, Simon. I appreciate everything you're doing, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
So, with that, I want to remind everyone, put down your social media feed for at least 5 minutes a day and go have a conversation with somebody. It helps our society, helps our democracy, and it helps us as a people at the end of the day. So, with that, have yourself an excellent day and keep talking, everyone.